You asked if a lot of money was sitting on the sidelines, institutional money. From where I sit, I think yes, undoubtedly. And this is less about blockchain, more about cryptocurrencies, or as I call them, crypto assets. And I think a lot of money is sitting on the sidelines. What we saw when Japan passed a series of cryptocurrency-specific regulations in that country, and after that happened, and after the regulatory picture became a little more certain, you saw mainstream adoption and also mainstream institutions coming in that country. I think we'll see the same thing here. I think as the regulatory picture becomes a bit more clear, we'll see crypto assets really have more mainstream adoption here. Not necessarily, like you're saying, for to buy a cup of coffee. I mean, part of the problem there with using Bitcoin right now, as it is today, as payment is frankly the price and the volatility. I mean, there's famously the guy who bought two pizzas for 10,000 Bitcoins, which would be worth $100 million today. So no one wants to be that guy. And that's
even
keeping
if it's really
people
good pizza, yeah.
from using.
Really good pizza.
You know, Peter, on this point around the, will it have the impact if it just hit payments? Firstly, I really want to reinforce what Brad said. 40% of the world today is unbanked, right? It costs unbanked. So the minute you could put payments or tokens on a blockchain, like my microfinance example, you can increase that trust.
So that's somewhere, whether in America or a developing country, who cannot get a loan, and
a
they've got a little
massive
stand.
population in America is unbanked. I think around 25%. So blockchains allow you to tokenize currency, tokenize fiat currency, but also create tokens of all sorts of things of value. So again, a real life example is Plastic Bank, where again, if you look at the human impact, by 2050, the volume of fish in the ocean will be exceeded by the volume of plastic. And so David Katz, CEO of Plastic Bank, has basically tokenized plastic on a blockchain for poor communities around the world to collect plastic and then be able to convert and trade it. So I can see a world where networks can create tokens of value that allow those networks to be included and to accelerate, whether it's microfinance or things like Plastic Bank.
People who are excited about blockchain and crypto frequently say this is like the early days of the internet, and it's going to take a while, we've just been talking about this several times, for us to sort of figure out what it can really do in its full capacity. But I'm old. I remember when the World Wide Web became a thing an average person could get to, and you couldn't probably think about Uber and products like that, but you got right away that you could send email,
You would have never got, though, that you would be downloading and streaming content and video because you could barely connect long enough on a
You could see that it didn't work
send.
very well, but there's lots of things that you could do with it right away. You could look at pictures of naked people, you could share recipes, you could get news. There are all sorts of things that worked.
So convenience of search to...
But should it be concerning that someone like myself is sort of straining and asking experts to sort of explain how blockchain is going to work this far into it, or are you guys confident that now we're on the
I don't think that's concerning, because I don't think right now digital assets and blockchain are solving consumer problems. I mean, you think about I think 100% of the examples you've heard us all talk about were infrastructure. I describe myself as we're a plumber to the global financial infrastructure. And that's not about going to Starbucks and using XRP to buy a coffee.
Yeah.
You could do that, hypothetically, and Starbucks could choose to accept that. But I don't think that's where we are. Vitalik, one of the founders of the Ethereum ecosystem, he was on a panel at a Ripple event, and the question he was asked was, who's the competition? And he pulled out a $20 Canadian bill and said, this is the competition. I couldn't disagree more. If we go out and say we're going to attack the system or attacking fiat, at the same event, we had Ben Bernanke come and speak, and he's like, look, central governments will control M1 money supply. This is fundamental to being a sovereign nation. And so this idea that I agree with Katie, I don't call it cryptocurrency. I refer to them as digital assets.